Hey guys, RBD Guy here, and I've been slowly realizing that this year there's a lot of video game anniversaries being celebrated. Nintendo alone is celebrating 10 years of Nintendo DS and 25 years of Game Boy. But you know what? There's another console that's celebrating 25 years this year. A very special console. The second console I ever got. The Sega Genesis, also known as the Mega Drive outside the US, which I always thought was kind of weird. They called it Mega Drive everywhere else, and then they changed it to Genesis. Mega Drive, Genesis.
At the time of release, Sega was still recovering from the Master System. It had done well in Europe, but pretty much sucked everywhere else thanks to the NES's colossal success. Sega knew their next system had to kick ass, and hard. So in 1989, 25 years ago if you're watching this in 2014, Genesis did what Nintendo didn't.
That phrase really doesn't work in the past tense.
Oh man, it was awesome! Sega was totally messing with Nintendo and saying, "Fuck you, we got 16 bits, bitch!" For all intents and purposes, this was the beginning of the Bit Wars, and the real first time Sega fought back in the epic Nintendo vs. Sega fight that lasted a really long time.
I really don't want to spend the entire video talking about Nintendo and Sega's past history. Instead, I got some games! Let's play them! Let's play some Sega Genesis! So before we begin, a couple of things you guys need to know. Number one, these are not reviews or critiques of my games. This is just my memories of them, good and bad. So if I miss something, don't crucify me. And number two, I actually don't own a Sega Genesis anymore, only the games. So we're going to be playing everything on the Retron 5. Anyway, let's go ahead and start off with Barbie. Yep, I own Barbie for the Sega Genesis, and it's the first game we're gonna play.
Well, the first thing I noticed is that the dude in the title menu kinda looks like Sigmund Freud. The fuck is that all about? The music in the game is okay. Nothing bad, but nothing great either. Without any instructions, the game is really fucking confusing. I really have no idea what my objective is, and I'm kinda just figuring it out on the spot. To be fair though, a lot of games are like this. Barbie seems really weird in the game. Like, her mind isn't all there. She's always daydreaming of doing really simple things like driving, rollerblading, and walking. She daydreams about walking. I usually daydream about what I'll be doing during my bachelor party, when will my student loan be paid off, when I'll be able to complete my Final Fantasy collection, but not fucking walking! That's pretty sad, actually. I hope Barbie's okay. Maybe the stress is getting to her. I mean, she has like 50,000 jobs. I'd be stressed too. Anyway, the game gets real boring really fast, and the game over screen is really awkward. Alright, next up I have a shitload of Mickey Mouse games. Let's start with Castle of Illusion. That's a classic. Overall, I don't have too much to say about this game. I enjoy the game a lot, but graphically it hasn't really aged well. Personally, I've always thought the sequel was way better. Speaking of the sequel, let's pop in World of Illusion. I love this game. It brings back so many good childhood memories. I used to rent this game from Blockbuster so many times that the manager gave my parents a discount on buying it, so my parents ended up doing it. It was probably cheaper that way. The co-op in the game is really fun, but the game itself can be fun if you're playing by yourself too. The music is awesome, so well thought out and catchy. Everything seems to fit the environment, and you gotta love that boss battle music. The game in general is a little on the easy side, which can make things a bit boring with a lack of challenge. Other than that, it really is a great sequel that I feel really surpasses the original and that I think is a lot more fun to play. Alright, one more Mickey game. This one is called Mickey Mania, and it's really fun. But god damn is it a tricky game. It has a great soundtrack and the art style of the game is really well thought out. The concept of Mickey going back in time to different animation eras of his life is great, and keeps the level progression from getting stale. Alright, we're done with Mickey Mouse, but there are a few other really good Disney-themed Genesis games I have. Let's take a look at Aladdin. Oh man, Aladdin. There's a big debate over which is better, the Genesis Aladdin or the Super Nintendo Aladdin, since they are both two very different games. I personally prefer the Genesis Aladdin. It's a great platformer and has some excellent music. Disney licensed out a lot of their properties and they were made into some really badass games, with Aladdin being one of them. My only gripe with the game is on how goddamn hard it gets near the end. As a child, I was never able to beat it, and I still have trouble as an adult. Next up, Toy Story. Oh god, that intro music. Just let it soak in for a second. Alright, let's move on. Out of all the Disney games I've owned or played, Toy Story might be my favorite. It's a fun platformer that follows the story of the movie really well, while still adding in its own charm. That Nightmare Buzz Lightyear boss battle was really neat and a cool way to add to the story. The only real problem I have with this game is that horrible car level. Ugh. Aw man. Now we get to the Lion King. This game has one of the easiest intro levels to a game ever. It's a great level that allows you to get to know the controls and ideas of the game right from the get-go. It almost gives you the impression that it's going to be an easy game.
It's not.
This game is so unrelentingly hard. My sister and I used to play the shit out of it when we were younger, just trying to figure out how the hell to beat it. We never could, we still can't. I've met some people who tell me, it's not hard at all, there's just some tricks you have to pick up, and then the game becomes okay. Well, I'm pretty sure my sister and I say no. Fuck no. Fuck this game. Now let's switch away from Disney entirely and talk about Jurassic Park. Holy shit! The T-Rex said Sega! That's fucking awesome! Sadly, that's the only real thing I like about this game. The intro is scary as shit. The music and visuals? Jeez. Imagine playing this game as a child. Damn. Overall, I just don't like this game. The controls are awkward for me, and I have no idea where the hell I'm supposed to go. Alright, now we have the Sonic the Hedgehog games. Let's start with Sonic the Hedgehog. Aw man, what's there to say about Sonic the Hedgehog? It's a classic. It has great music, great gameplay, and just a straight up great game. Easily one of the best Sonic the Hedgehog games ever made. Quick warning though, don't ever play this game while high on drugs. Next up, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Overall, Sonic 2 is a great sequel. It expands on the foundation of the original while still giving it enough new features to have it stand out. I personally have always enjoyed Sonic 1 over Part 2. But Sonic 2 did introduce some great additions, like the awesome Super Sonic, the plane levels, and hell, even Tails was pretty cool. And last but not at all least, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I love this game. My favorite Genesis game is Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which is formed by locking Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles together, so this forms half of my favorite Genesis game. Sonic 3 is a great game that, like its predecessor, added much to the Sonic mythology. Save files were added so you could actually take a break and not beat the game all the way through. The game had an excellently addictive bonus stage used to collect the Chaos Emerald. Also, when it's locked onto Sonic and Knuckles, it becomes one of the largest 2D Sonic games ever. All in all, I have to say, I love Sonic the Hedgehog 3 a lot. If you haven't played it yet, and I hope that's not the case, do yourself a favor and play this one ASAP. So I have a few Spider-Man games to go over that are pretty mixed up. The first game is just called Spider-Man. Apparently it's also called Spider-Man vs. the Kingpin. Whatever. The game is actually pretty awesome. It can get damn brutal later on, but you do really feel like Spider-Man within the realms of the 16-bit era. Let's see what we got here. Maximum Carnage. Holy shit, the cart is red! Yeah, it was a cool, silly promotional thing they did. Looks like I got one of the lucky red ones. So first off, the cutscenes are really cool, and have this awesome comic book style look to it. The game itself is basically a Final Fight or Streets of Rage copycat that's actually really fun. The enemies that you fight that aren't bosses have the stupidest fucking names. Alex, Billy, Hayden? How fucking non-threatening are those names? What were they thinking? So a sequel was made to Maximum Carnage called Separation Anxiety. Let's check that out. First off, those non-threatening enemy names are gone. Also gone are those awesome comic book style panel cutscenes, which are replaced with one picture and a long ass paragraph explaining the story. What a letdown already. Right from the start, you could choose between Spider-Man or Venom. The animations look more fluid, but the graphics look less mature. They kinda look goofy, and I'm not sure what's going on with Venom's tongue, or his cock, or his ass, or his haters gonna hate walk. This can easily be one of the worst sequels I've ever played. Oh boy, we saved the worst for last. This game is called Arcade's Revenge, and it just sucks. Controls are terrible, and Spider-Man's falling animation is pretty damn funny. Also, fuck Arcade. He's such a stupid villain. Eventually you get to play as the X-Men as well, with each member having their own stage. Wolverine fights clowns and toys. Just let that sink in for a minute. Also, you have to take out his claws. Why make the player do that? Does having your claws out take away health? No. I don't get why you'd have the option not to have claws. Who the fuck wants to play as Wolverine without claws? Next up is Cyclops, and wait, Slim? His nickname is Slim? Yup, I looked it up and he was definitely called Slim at one point. Eminem would probably be pissed. Anyway, he has the worst controls. His jump is so awkward and sucks. When you press down, you enter a weird crouch mode, which makes you incapable of moving. The jungle setting is okay though. Storm is the worst! All you do is swim underwater and shoot electricity. And what logic is that? How could you shoot concentrated electricity underwater? I mean, I know she's Storm, but aren't her powers rooted to the standard rules of nature that she could control? Also, the underwater stage hurts my eyes. Ugh. Gambit is pathetic. Just look at him. Yeah, enough said. The stage sucks too. Well, since we're on the subject of the X-Men, let's end on the last two games that revolve around X-Men characters. Let's start with the simply named X-Men. On the whole, it's a good game with a decent variety of characters to play as. It's just not really my thing. I personally find it a bit confusing and find the controls a bit awkward. Its sequel has Clone Wars attached to it. Yeah, George Lucas would probably think that was kinda close to home. Interesting way to begin the game. It just randomly starts. I guess they were going for a cool, cold opening movie style approach. It can be annoying though, since you don't have a say in which character to choose. It's similar to the first game, but I prefer it a little bit more. It seems more focused on just kicking ass than figuring things out. Not bad, but it's still a bit hard for me.
And that's all the Genesis games I got! But before we bring a close to this video, I did want to say a couple of things about the 25-year anniversary of Genesis. I still remember the first time I wanted a Sega Genesis was watching Nick Arcade on Nickelodeon way back when, a little less than 25 years ago. And I remember I begged my parents for it, and once I got it, I ignored everything Mario Brothers, Nintendo related, focused 100% on Sega Genesis. And honestly, if it wasn't for my dad helping me generate interest into the Nintendo 64 way back in 1996, I probably would have kept playing Sega Genesis for ages. But, I guess that's just the way it was. But for those of you who own a Sega Genesis, or, I don't know, you have like some virtual console game or some shit like that, pop in a Sega Genesis game this month, play some Sega Genesis, enjoy it. It's 25 years old. What, it can run a car now, right? Isn't that how it works? I don't know. Anyway, for now, I raise my metaphoric glass to Sega Genesis. I'm gonna play some Genesis. I suggest you guys too. And always remember, until next time, Retrospectives-Be-Damned, I'm telling my story.